Hi everyone, Brady Joker here, and today I'm going to be reviewing Beau is Afraid. It's weird. Very, very weird. Never ever seen anything like this movie in my life. Is it the weirdest movie ever made? I don't know. Delicatessen, that was pretty bizarre. But that one was bizarre in a sense where it's just the line delivery and the acting performances that made it bizarre. This movie is just bizarre. And if you need proof, just watch the trailer. Or watch the movie. This is a movie that I know people are going to hate. I can see it gaining a cult following in terms of hatred. Like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. It's awful. Ari Aster, what's wrong with you? Speaking of Ari Aster, I'm going to be doing a ranking video of Ari Aster's movies plus one short film. So, be on the lookout for that. That's going to be a fun video. This movie is very difficult to talk about and especially explain because that's not my job. I'm not going to explain this movie to you guys. There's so much with this movie. It is bananas. There's just so many things to dissect, so many things to talk about, but honestly, I don't want to. This is one of those movies where you have to have the very famous ending explained, but you know what? I'm not going to watch it. I don't want to know. I want to rewatch this movie and perceive it for myself. Well, I just now realized that my microphone, I forgot to plug in my mic, so sorry that first bit probably sounded janky, but what are you going to do? So I saw this movie last night in theaters, and I have done nothing but think about it non-stop. Of course, it stars Joaquin Phoenix, who obviously plays, the Joker, one of my favorites of all time. And I can say the same thing about his performance in this movie as I can in Joker. It is phenomenal. Joaquin is able to bring so many emotions inside of this one film. And even though it is a 3-hour movie, which does turn people off, but honestly, for me, it wasn't that bad, but I'll get to the pacing later. I think this movie was just, like, Joaquin's performance, he's able to capture everything. Confusion, frustration, wholesomeness, kindness, fear, panic. It's just everything. It's sadness, devastation. Forgot those. That's pretty big in the movie, but forgot those. It's everything, and he's able to do it flawlessly, knowing about his severe anxiety that he has. And ultimately, that's what the movie's about. It's just how we perceive the movie. And because not everything in this movie, obviously, is real. I mean, there's probably many scenes where Beau is having anxiety attacks and something is happening that isn't really happening, or it's extremely exaggerated. Something else I'd like to touch on, because this was something that I noticed very early on in the film, was the cinematography. Cinematography in this movie was absolutely stunning. The way I don't know who did the cinematography, but whoever did the cinematography, the way that they are able to draw in the audience, and especially when you get in some of the later moments, like in the animation scene, that is incredible. My gosh, it is beautiful. There's so many shots in this movie where I'm like, that is amazing. I would say that as a director, Ari Aster has peaked in terms of just how big and grand this movie feels in comparison to something like Midsommar and Hereditary. And while, yes, Hereditary and Midsommar are both excellent films, this movie just feels like Ari Aster's peak of his directing so far. This really just shows how much he's grown ever since Midsommar, which came out 4 years ago almost. There's just There are moments in this movie where the confusion and the weirdness can get overbearing. Like, there's a scene towards the end where I'm just like, what is going on right now? What is happening? And so it kind of drew me out at a very minimal point, but it did happen. Also, the thing probably didn't need to be 3 hours, and With the movie being 3 hours out of his 3 movies, this one with Beau, if Beau feels the least fleshed out of the protagonists in all of his other movies. Beau is definitely the most underdeveloped character, which kind of makes for a kind of bittersweet moment. With this movie being 3 hours, and like I just said, Beau being the least developed character out of his protagonists, it kind of makes the movie feel way too long, especially when you don't get as much character stuff in this movie. This movie is more certainly world building than it is a character piece. I felt like his other 2 movies were very focused on the characters, and this one wasn't. And that's totally okay. I think it works so well. This movie is also pretty disturbing at moments. There's times where I'm just like, okay, that's kind of weird. That's making me feel a bit uneasy, but it's not as bad as I kind of expected it after watching Midsommar and Hereditary. I mean, those movies are very disturbing, and this one I was expecting it to be much more disturbing than it was. It really wasn't that bad, at least for me personally. I personally don't suffer with terrible anxiety. I mean, not everybody has anxiety, but like mine is not nearly as bad as obviously what Beau is having. Not only does Joaquin Phoenix deliver an excellent performance, but Patti LuPone, wow, what a performance that she gives in this movie. I mean, every single line delivery she gives, it's just unsettling and disturbing, but it's just so filled with anger, and it's amazing to watch. In the end, I thought Beau Was Afraid was an excellent movie. I enjoyed so much about it. And now we are going to get into spoilers, so if you don't want spoilers, click on this time frame right here. Alrighty, let's get into the weirdness. I gotta say, first of all, the standout scene here, even though it might not be my favorite thing in the movie, is the excellently beautiful switch in the movie from Beau being in the woods to all of a sudden being in this play, and it is absolutely stunning. It is so pretty. I mean, there's that one shot in the trailer of Beau just laying inside the puddle, and every time his hand moves, it like creates a swirl around the water. It felt like an animated movie, and it is absolutely incredible. Even though in that section of the movie I have really no idea what's going on, I definitely want to rewatch this one, seeing as later in the movie there is, well, I guess a massive penis inside of his mom's attic, which, yeah, I don't know what that's all about. The ending itself, I don't know either. I mean, from what I originally thought was, has he been like a test subject this whole time to see how somebody with severe anxiety reacts and does things surrounding his mom? Like, I genuinely don't know. I need to rewatch this movie and try to just watch it, because I felt like on my first watch I was really trying to pick up on every single thing, but I feel like on a second watch I feel like I'll notice things without even trying. And I gotta say, the first 40 minutes of this thing are absolutely incredible. You just see all these terrible things happen to Beau, and they just pile and pile up on each other, and it is undoubtedly so sad, and it's so good though, because like I said, Joaquin gives an excellent performance throughout. You really sell everything that's happening, even though everything is cranked to a 12 out of 10. Like, it is not really realistic, but the movie and Joaquin's performance really sells that you believe it's actually happening. It's absolutely crazy what this movie did to my mind. Like, this movie did give me anxiety, even though I'm not a very anxiety-ridden person. This movie just made me feel anxious. Particularly in the beginning of the movie, when that was definitely the more realistic parts of the movie. And I just thought the first 40 minutes were such an interesting little trip before the actual trip started happening. The reveal that Beau's mom wasn't actually dead and that she was actually alive, I thought was a genius twist that me personally, I didn't even see coming. I don't know if I'm just stupid for that, but I personally did not see that coming at all. I was not expecting Beau's mom to actually be alive. And that's when Patti LuPone gives an absolutely great dialogue where she is just slandering Beau on just how terrible of a son you are. You hate me, you don't want to see me, you do all these twisted things, which we learn more about at the very end when he is surrounded in a coliseum and a cage, and then he dies, I think. I don't know if Beau dies. I assume he did, because I mean, when the boat that Beau's on, boat, yeah, funny, when it flips over and he falls under, I mean, the boat is like shaking. So I mean, maybe that's just the motor or something, but I was imagining Beau was like shaking the boat, like trying to get help, and then all of a sudden it stops, and then it credits roll, which that was a very effective ending in my eyes. I thought it was very well fit for the movie, and even though I don't really fully understand it at all, I thought it fit the movie really well and was an effective, unsettling way to end this movie. And even though, yeah, the movie is 3 hours, for me personally, I was pretty interested in the movie the whole time. There weren't many points where I was bored watching it. There were some moments where I was like, okay, I'm kind of not feeling this because I'm too confused, which is what I was talking about earlier, how like the animation scene, I think that went on just a little too long. I think it could have been cut down just a little bit, even though I am glad that it's as long as it is, because it is absolutely beautiful for the eyes. But I felt like just the confusion of it all, like it came out of nowhere, and I don't really know even now what it really all meant. I loved this thing from top to bottom. I realize now I don't really have a lot to talk about when it comes to spoilers, and that's mainly because I don't really know what this movie is all about. This movie is just, there's so many, dare I say it, layers. I don't know. I can, like I said at the beginning, I can see many people hating this movie, such as my mother. But I feel like a lot of people will respect and appreciate the movie more than they like it, but for me, I personally loved it, and I even appreciate it even more. That does leave me to say I'm feeling a decent strong 8 on this one. Transition. If you guys have seen Beau's Afraid, tell me, did you love it? Did you hate it? If so, tell me why. And if you want more movie reviews, let me know. I hope you guys have an absolutely wonderful rest of your day, evening, or night, whenever you're watching it. I don't know. Anyways, see you guys next time. Peace out.